Okay, thank you for watching. Happy Saturday. If you are a decent being in this universe, if you happen to be logging in live on YouTube at Blooming Light, Blooming's Tribe, which is August. The original air date is August, Saturday, August the 2nd, 2025, around noonish, maybe half hour past noon Central Standard Time in the US. But if you happen to be logging in at a later time and date, just whenever, okay? Thank you. If you don't know much about me, please read the description box. I have well over 2,000 videos here with a mixture of things, as well as you can click on the links to the other platforms and you'll get the gist. So I deal a lot and talk a lot regarding survivors of all sorts of hideous crimes and abuses, okay, including community organized harassment, cyber harassment, stalking, bullying, stealing, violations of civil human rights, bigotry, discriminatory types acts based on race, creed, color, ethnicity, gender, sexuality, religion, um, all of those types of things, okay? And or even based on disabilities, okay? My son and myself are individuals who have been targeted and who have been placed on lists wrongfully by those exploiting their positions of authority and power for their own personal issues, cleverly hiding it behind so-called concern and rules and regulations in which they themselves do not honor and uphold. But that is how it began, at least in the state of Texas. Now, we have been um, definitely targeted, from way before that, okay? But certainly within the state of Texas in the United States of America, okay? So now what we're going to be talking about in this segment is one of the aspects of gang stalking, professionally recognized as organized community harassment. One of the things that take place with that is forms of male tampering of sorts. And this is done in a very, very clever manner. Okay, whether this be if it's apartment complexes, then this could very well be done in a way of exploitation of a U.S. Postal Serviceman if they have connections with those that are involved, whether that be the managers, the landlords, or any of the individuals, okay, that are involved in the organized community harassment. And so they will try to disguise it as maybe a misplacement, put into the wrong, air quote, the wrong slot or box by error. Or they'll try to disguise it something as, a new employee, not knowing the ropes and took it back. They'll try to, be very clever with these attempts to interfere with the targeted individuals or their family, or this goes with their mail. Somebody's going to say, well, why is that done if it's not money related? It doesn't matter. It's about intruding, first and foremost, on the privacy, your mail or your family's mail or wherever you have your mail going, the privacy that is yours under law, okay? It's an attempt to be nosy about what it is. Again, once again, out of their scope, an attempt to be nosy into your private business, your affairs, what you're doing, what you have, or your children, things of that nature. Sometimes it is about trying to get a hold of money, just trying to see, if there's anything, they'll certainly try it, okay? But it is about that intrusion and trying to interfere and interrupt That's the whole gist of these abuses, okay? To attempt to confuse and also to attempt to get you in, like, for an example, they're hoping that they can confuse you and that it will end up causing you some kind of angst, and that it'll also cause you to just allow and accept things that you shouldn't. They're hoping that it'll cause you to end up dishing out, because they don't want you to have any resources. And the resources that are rightfully yours, or that are honorably yours in totality, they don't want you to have. So they're hoping that it creates, if it's on the financial side, they're hoping that this will create an issue where you'll end up just out of sheer exhaustion and confusion. That you will overexert and overpay for things that you shouldn't. Yet another tactic to overburden the target and put you in positions that you shouldn't have been in. And also to get shit free, because mostly people are low lives. Most of them. They're low lives. I'm sorry if that's offensive. Actually, I'm not sorry. Let me stop saying that. I'm really working hard on trying to get rid of that language out of my vocabulary and subconscious, because I'm not. And also, sorry on a subconscious level sends the message to the mind and body that you feel like you are an inconvenience and a problem. And I'm not. Neither is the targeted population. We're an inconvenience to those who's trash. Okay? Absolutely. So, the whole, the exhaustion codes, the fatigue codes, and a part of all of that is this. Okay? If you're dealing with constant onslaughts and attacks in different forms that most of the world is just too dumb and ignorant to see or believe, then your energy then is going towards constantly dealing with that, right? On top of you're dealing with life, life as everyone else in conjunction. So just the regular nuances and humdrums of life on top of all of that in itself will get you confused about a lot of things, and they can come up off you because they trash. Okay? That's one of the ways, because they do employ or recruit a lot of lowlives. Okay? So even if, let's say, the powers that be, the head, let's say the head honchos and all this shit is loaded. It doesn't matter. They hire a lot of minions who ain't got shit. Okay? And this is a part of how they do what they do, because minions who ain't got shit is willing to do everything and anything to get shit. Isn't that right? Left, up, down, all around, here and now, all about. Okay? So they hire these individuals, and some of them, they already know that these people are criminals because a lot of them have a rap sheet already. Okay? They have a rap sheet already. It's kind of their MO and their tendencies. So they'll make, some kind of deal with them, it's like, oh, let us know what kind of mail they're getting. Or, and you can have whatever you want. If there's anything that they get that you want that you can use, I'm just saying, these are different little things, saying we'll cover you, we'll make sure you don't get in trouble, which is a lie. Because I'm going to tell you right now, that's a lie. Because when it goes down, they're going to throw them suckers under the bus. They are. Yes, they are. They not finna take the hit. They got too much to lose. They ain't finna take the false shit. Nah, nigga. Nah, the low life is gonna have to take it. The common good for nothing that's already got a rap sheet is the one that's gonna take the hit on this. Because it's plausible, And it's going to be easy to convince a judge and a jury. And it's going to appease the prosecutor, the DA. And this is the, see, that's how they think. And see, y'all better catch up with it. That's how them powers that be think. It's like, oh, this is going to be plausible. This here, we got, yeah. If this shit goes to shit, then we throwing the very ones that we recruited under the goddamn bus. They are already in trouble. They're already trash. They're already from the wrong side of the tracks. They already have a rap sheet. They're already trash. So they'll believe that a little ghetto somebody on the county, you know what I'm saying? A little thug, bones and raggedy, you know what I'm saying? They'll believe. See that? Funny, I think that part is funny actually. I actually dig a little bit that part because for me, it's just like, oh well, that's what they get. Mm-hmm. Thought your safety and security was solid. Thought that protection was solid. That's good. So now also I wanted to add that they even will get like people that are on drugs. An addict. An addict is a professional thief that rarely gets caught. So they will employ drug addicts because they don't have to give them very much. They do not have to give them very much at all, okay, to get them to do something. And now lastly, people who don't have anything to lose. And the reason why they'll do that is because some people don't care about getting in trouble. There are some that are like, hey, well, if this goes to shit and I do get in trouble, well, at least I don't have to, I'll go to jail. And that's free room and board. I won't have to be worrying about trying to find a place. I won't have to worry about, so there are some that are that low and that they employ or recruit because they feel like even if I did get in trouble, I'll go to jail again. Well, good. I won't have to be trying to figure out my life no more. Shit. I'll just, that's where some people are. And they know that. Okay, some people don't have anything to lose. They do not care about their life. They feel like their life is shit anyway. Okay, and so there's like, if I go to jail, shit, well, that's 3 square meals. That's free medical. If I get sick, if I get hurt, 3 square meals, medical. Sure, I have to work at the commissary or I have to earn my keep in there, but hey, I got somewhere to sleep. I can turn gay if I'm not gay already and get me a partner. And I won't have to worry about, the American dream or anything. I can it's already here. I can go to school. I can do me a program. Just jail is different. Nowadays in 2025, you can do things. Oh shit. So that's how they feel. But the male aspect is a component, and I wanted to share that. Okay. They don't expect the targeted population to have enough energy or clarity. They are expecting that all of that gaslighting that's been done to them, all of that chaos and conflict shit, all of that noise and shock and all of the other things that they have piled on, including but not limited to spell work and poison in their food and all of the various things that they've been doing. They're hoping that it'll just exhaust the target to such a degree that they don't have the bandwidth or capacity to look into things or to question things when weird things happen. Okay, So what they're not expecting is when you catch things and you have the mind and the clarity, okay, to get it resolved, that you'll never find out about it, which would bypass when the targeted population get into that energy. It starts to cut out or cut away at extra costs and things like that as they investigate. Okay. And so just a lot of trickery, a lot of slight, trickery. And the reason why the targeted population may double take it at first, because we're like a healthy human. We know that we're flawed and we can make a mistake, and that maybe something slipped our mind, or we're not calculating something properly. So that's the way a healthy mind thinks anyway. But they're hoping that by way of that you would gaslight yourself when you know that something is off, something is wrong. There's no way I should be being charged this. There's something, maybe there's a miss of something somewhere, but there's something off with that. Okay? And if you get to the bottom of it, then this is a possibility of people getting into trouble, as it pertains to these apartment complexes especially. Okay, these apartment complexes, and then the use of, whatever the authority is, whether that is the managers, the landlords, or their staff, or some of the residents and law enforcement that are some of the residents. Whatever the case may be, that cuts out and is putting them under fire if the targeted population is able to sift, because it's going to start bringing domino effects. Okay? But I just wanted to say that is an aspect of organized community crime, stalking, and mail tampering and fraud is a big one. That's yet another obsession with what you've got going. Okay, whether it is there's checks to be sent to you, whether that is debit cards to be sent to you, whether that is they're trying to see if there's any correspondences. It's an intrusion onto what you got coming, or whoever, you, your children, whomever. Okay, to be able to report to the head weirdo, as well as whatever, they can get. So, to my survivors that are alchemizing and changing the game, the more you're able to take care of yourself, this is what I want to say. It's okay. If you've missed it and you haven't been able to catch it, well, we all been there, okay? Because that's, you've been plummeted. They ambush you for a reason. They ambush you with bullshit, street theater, retards, people, criminally acting people who seem to not know how to emotionally regulate. That's for a reason. That is to exhaust you. That is to distract you. That is definitely to affect. Okay, so it's okay. It's not okay that they did it, but it's okay if you have not, or you're not in a space to where you're catching everything. You have several groups and teams of people collaborating to fuck with you, and you're one person. Okay? At least in the physical. Some of you got some badass help that you don't even know about. Okay? Some badass shit, even in the physical. Some of you, maybe you'll find this out soon. Okay? But one day, you will. So here's what I want to tell you. Taking care of yourself is going to be a key. And when I say taking care, I mean creatively, whatever that is, so that you can have your capacities and that clarity that they don't want you to have. They want you emotionally dysregulated and unhinged by their ambushingness, so that they can record this and take pictures and videos and type shit and all that to make it seem like you're someone that you're not, essentially someone that they are. So the more we can, and you're not going to do it perfectly, even with the knowledge of this, we're not going to do this perfectly, but the more that we can, taking whatever break you need when you need it, clearing out stuff when it feels like something's unnatural, okay, being internally guided, all of the things you can do, if it's energy work, supplements, exercise, all whatever you're doing, if you can continue to incorporate those things, and give yourself space and room. So simplify is another tool or tip I humbly and personally recommend, because the simplicity, the decluttering and the simplicity, to me also, it helps, okay? Because again, they want us distracted one way or the other, whether we're over consuming, chasing, clawing, panting, avoiding, whatever it is, overdoing, underdoing, like all these extremes they want to keep us in. Okay? So if we can find our creative way to simplify, declutter, simplify, taking care of ourselves creatively, this is where you will find that alignment and the clarity of your being messed with in other ways, where you'll see, and you'll start looking at ledgers, you'll start keeping record of your finances and ledgers and the trickery things that they've been doing with that. They're hoping that you're just going to be too exhausted, you'll just pay the extra, that you'll just, but as you get where I'm talking about, you won't, which is going to serve you later. Okay, that's going to serve you later. Because remember, if you are planning to file a RICO case, and in the process of planning to file, you are doing your research, you're gathering, you're trying to learn how to communicate and document where the courts will take you seriously, okay, and provide the information that they require to the extent in which you can, okay, to the extent in which you can. All of that is going to help to create the case. So everywhere from people putting trash on your patios and front doors as a pattern, okay? Weird things with, if you filed your taxes and mail and the employees you've dealt with. See, all of that is information. All of that are events. Those are factual events. Okay, now interpretation is something that we can't get into as it pertains to court, but those are all facts. Okay, you went to H&R Block over here. You spoke with H&R rep over there. You called and spoke with this H&R rep regarding this on this date. You filed, electronically or remotely through this portal and this branch. Okay, that's all information. You reported to said manager or said landlord on repeated occasions and dates regarding this, having documentation of that, regarding this person, this apartment, this place. You've mentioned the repetitive of people following you, and that was not taken seriously, of the same vehicle, the same person, or repeated times where you would go here and there and they appear to be following your movement on such and such date. Okay, and as it pertains to mail, you know, you'll have the documentation. Okay, again, peculiar behavior, contacted company, you know, doctor, you know, schmooby, regarding blase blase, regarding medication, regarding vitamins, regarding orders and shipments. Those are facts. Those are events. That you, when you get yourself there, you can have. This is going to help you in the process for those that are preparing to file for a RICO charge. Because that's what it takes. All you need is 2 predicate acts. If you're wondering what qualifies filing a complaint. Okay? And then they'll give you a breakdown of what qualifies as a predicate act. One of the predicate acts is what you're looking at on the screen, mail tampering. Okay. And with that being said, let me see what else I have here. Okay. That's the mail theft or tampering. You know, maybe he's trying to stay just up under the camera there. Okay. Okay, I don't know now, just to be fair, I do not know if this information is up to date. This is something that I saw, so you might have to look into it. I plan to look into that number. I can't say yet because I haven't tried it, but it said if you're suspicious of something, report mail theft, tampering, or vandalism. There's a number here, okay, if you feel like that has happened. So, you know, the breakdown, it says tampering with the mailbox is indeed a serious offense, often classified as federal felony, punishment by the fines and imprisonment. This includes actions like tampering with the mailbox, obstructing mail delivery. See, some may have thought that it's just limited to the physical box, but it is not limited to the physical box. It said, this includes action like damaging the mailbox, obstructing mail delivery, or stealing mail. Mailboxes are considered federal property, and unauthorized access or interference is a violation of U.S. law. Okay, and I find that the reason why I find all this data fascinating is because a lot of these people are law officers. They're law officers that are trying to find something to trump up on the targeted individual themselves. Yep. That is the oxymoron, you know, of all time. Because a lot of the cases, these would be people who are in law enforcement, and they take their oaths and they're breaking those laws, and then they're trying to find, they're digging for straws. They're trying to get these targeted populations caught up for their reasons, their personal, nefarious reasons, okay? That truly don't have anything at all to do with their oath to uphold the law, because if it was about their oath to uphold the law, then they would understand the proper protocols of due process, and they would understand ethics, and in other words, no longer not exploiting their positions. That's a part of the oath, is that this is to be built on integrity, not because I don't like this person, I'm looking for something to create, and I'm going to violate the very laws in which I am trying to get them trumped up on. Yeah. Okay. So there you have it. A big thing. Okay. So now, collective, pay more attention to your mail. Let this, and I'm not saying be paranoid and overly zealous in an unhealthy way. It's just pay a lot of attention to it, including orders and deliveries, things to be shipped to you, things like that. Pay more attention. Many of you are already checking the mailbox, so don't, if it's a mailbox, don't fall for that. It's like, oh, something is returned. No, no. Mailbox being full, no, no. See, some of you all are in locations where they better do better than that, because if you or your family members are checking the mail daily or every other day, you know what I'm saying? They're going to have to come up with something else as their alibi, as their excuse of something was returned versus they told the postal men to return something. Okay? Because that's also interference. Okay? And I also want to add, if your mailing address is your family member's address, it's the same. It doesn't matter. If your family has allowed you to use their mailing address for your mail, because if you're homeless, then you don't have a permanent resident. Okay? And may or may not be able to pay for an external mailbox at Randall Schmando. Okay? So if your, for all intents and purposes, on your driver's license and your ID and your mailing address is that of your family members, it's the same difference. So they better come up with something else. They better come up with another lie. They better come up with another kind of an alibi. Okay? Because many of you aren't negligent of checking the mail enough for them to be able to say, oh, well, the mailbox was full and so they just had to return it. They better do better than that. Okay? And, when they're instructing these delivery people that, just take it, send it back if it's not the resident there. That's not their job to do. They're still tampering. Because people do utilize other addresses for their mailing address. And there's no law stating that that can't be done. So collective, pay attention, okay? And especially pay attention to those who are surrounding where you live, the closest. So if you're in an apartment complex, so those who are within that same building, that are near, pay real close attention to them, because those are the ones, chances are, that are participating in it. Okay, I ain't saying you should go, lurking about their shit. I'm saying just pay attention, because those are usually the ones that are involved, because they're closest. They're going to be the ones who see before anybody else, especially if this is to do with delivery. Okay, they'll be the ones to first see it. Okay, if things are shipped, who's going to be first to see that? It's going to be those that are closest. So watch them. Okay, watch them. Whether it is, them or a friend, but because, it's not going to be the entire complex is not going to know right away when there's been a shipment or a delivery for you. It's going to be the neighbor, the next door, across the way, upstairs. It's going to be those that have to walk and see your door often, because that's how they get in and out of their own unit. Okay? Could even be, also pay attention to maybe even maintenance, staff. It just depends on how far this goes. Okay, because oftentimes they know when deliveries are coming, and UPS, FedEx, and all of those things. Okay. Some of you are in a more sophisticated type of complexes, but if they're not utilizing the technology in terms of like putting it in a box versus in front of your door type of thing, because people are, full bags, people cheat, people try. I don't know why we'd be offended by it. It's the truth. Why we don't? Come on. Especially if they don't like a person. Yeah, people loose upstairs, yo. Loose. There you go. Boom. Oh, there's the penal codes up there. I was trying to make it so you all could see the penal codes. Okay. And guess what? It is not just the physical box. So newsflash, smarty pants, you're still doing federal crime even if you're not touching the physical mailbox. If you are tampering with someone's packages that have been delivered or shipped to them, you're still committing a federal felony. I suggest y'all reevaluate your friendships and your loyalties. I suggest y'all really go. I don't care if your homegirl or your family member is a police officer. Ain't nothing gonna help you. Not anymore. I don't care if you are somebody is the landlord or the manager or the supervisor, at the post office, and don't matter. There it is. Yeah. Let's get this going. Oh. Huh? Okay. This is why this insidious stuff has to be looked into, and some people rather bury their head in the sand and stuff like that. That's not going to help. I just want to say that it's not. Some people think that, oh, just ignore them, and just this. No, it's ignored to an extent in terms of the street theater, okay, that they're always trying to get out of you. But certain actions, and I even tell people that are like observers of this, it's like, no, you're thinking that just going away. No, you're going to have to take the guided actions that you're being guided to take. And until enough people start speaking up and no longer allow themselves to be intimidated or bullied by these people, this is why they're able to do what they do. So you got to count up the costs, count up your losses. You may have to lose friendships, family, connections, and resources. But in the long haul, you'll be gaining, first and foremost, the integrity of your essence and your soul. On top of aligning, okay, you'll be gaining respect, and you'll be sending the frequency out into this world and this universe that you ain't gonna take no shit without taking suckers the fuck out. That you're not doing it. Okay, no matter how long this takes, just like they're incessant, like a narc never gives up, you'll be showing that neither will you.